Hello students, I am Soft Skills Trainer from Department of Career Planning and Development, Chandigarh University. So students, today I will discuss how to make professional PowerPoint presentation. See students, you need to understand the importance of your PPT because time and again you are being asked by teachers to prepare your presentations on various topics. Your PPT should be such that it should tempt the audience to look at your PPT, try and understand your PPT, whatever you are presenting, rather than getting bored. So here are some tips that will definitely help you to make your professional PowerPoint presentation better. First thing that you need to understand is your audience. Who all are there in your audience? Because depending on that, you will be able to adjust the level of complexity in your PPT. Tip number 2, it's a simple one. You need to keep your PPT as simple as possible and as smooth as possible. Now, what do I understand? What do you mean by simple and smooth? The thing about the simple is not using extra flashy things in your PPT, flashy images, something that might create some controversy with someone or related to that. Smooth is something that the flow of the PPT should be really smooth. Your PPT slide should be adjusted such that the previous slide should be connected to the next slide. It shouldn't be this way that in slide 1 you're talking about A and slide 2 you're talking about Z. So this shouldn't be the case. That's why I told you that your PPT should be simple and smooth. The third thing regarding your PPT, regarding your PowerPoint presentation should be that you need to rehearse a lot before you go in for the final presentation. Now these 3 tips will help you for your presentation when you will be giving. Now let's come down to how to actually start making your professional PowerPoint presentation. Now, first thing first is, again, you should know the topic and you should have researched the topic. You should have gathered all the information in a Word document, specifically I would call it Word documents, and you should have also gathered related images and related data before you start your PPT. Because the thing is, when you are making your PPT, if you try and find data again and again, the thing is you will be again time and again adjusting your PPT. So do your research one time, gather all the information in a Word document, the related images, the data, the table, the charts, and return information. That will definitely help you. So the step 1 of your PPT is to open your PowerPoint presentation. Then you have to check what kind of a template do you want. So it solely depends upon you and your need and the type of PPT that you're going to make. That depends upon the type of template. So after choosing the type of template, what you can do is after choosing the type of template, you can start working on your PPT. Now, one thing is, generally in PowerPoint presentations, we have 2 aspect ratios that we generally use. Number 1 is 4:3. That is your standard aspect ratio of a PowerPoint presentation. For example, if you have prepared your PPT and you press F5, then you will see your PPT on a projected screen that will be of 4:3. But if you want to have a wide PPT, that is your 16:9 aspect ratio. So you can do that. Now after choosing the aspect ratio, first thing that you need to do is to make the front page. So front page is front slide or the first slide of the PPT. That is really important because that contains the name of the topic that you're going to present and some logos as well. For example, if you're making PPT for your department, for Chandigarh University, so make sure that you have their logo on the top left or right, because if there are 2 logos, then you have to use both top left and right corner. If you have 1 logo, you can use top right corner to have that logo pasted on that particular place. Now after that, if you have made the first slide of the PPT, you have written down the topic, and if you want to submit it to someone, you can mention their name as well. Okay. Now in the second slide, you need to have the index. Why index is really important? Because when you need to present your PPT, you should be telling your audience what all you will be covering in this for that particular presentation. So index is really important because it will give the entire overview of the PPT, that what will be covered in this particular PPT. Okay, now after the index will be your actually first slide of your presentation. Okay, it will be the first slide of your presentation when you will gonna when you start introducing your topic. Now, my suggestion to you would be to use some interactive images rather than filling it with a lot of words. Why actually I'm telling you this thing that you should be having some interactive images or you should not be using a lot of words is because people or the your audience, they really want to hear you. They want to somehow wants to know what your thoughts are, and if you're giving them those words, those paragraphs, so they will definitely get bored. So the thing is, you should be using some images that will attract the audience, that will tempt them to sit down and listen to you carefully. Tip number 2, regarding after that, what you should be doing is, please, one thing that you need to make sure that you should not be using a lot of words. And seriously, paragraphs are big no. You should not be using a lot of paragraphs. Again, the thing is, your audience wants to listen to you, your thoughts, your analysis, what you have researched about. They don't want to read a lot of stuff. If they would have been interested in reading those stuff, they would have literally opened their laptops and their mobile phones to read that. But they want to know your analysis. They want to have a lot of information in a crisp form, and that is what your presentation will provide them, and that is their expectations as well. So make sure you do not use a lot of words. Paragraphs are big no. If you want to use some sentences, please make sure that you use some bullet points. Okay, after that, one thing that you need to take into account is that you need to keep the font size similar in all the PPT. Okay, the thing is, at times you might be using some different form in different slide and different size in different slides. That will make your PPT look irregular, and that will not be a smooth PPT. So make sure that you keep the font and the font size in all the PPT similar. Okay, for example, if you have heading in Times New Roman, okay, and you have your font size to be 24 or 26, so make sure all the slides have that similar font size and font. Okay, after adjusting all these things, you are expected to have some beautiful colors in your PPT, so that, for example, if you are writing down some names, or if you are having some images, those things look really well, really interesting, and that really bind the audience, because PPT is all about interactiveness. Okay, so please use some soothing colors, really beautiful colors, so that your audience doesn't get bored. Okay, if your PPT is black and white, that will definitely make them leave the presentation area. Okay, after that is your formatting. Now, what is formatting? Formatting is making sure that everything is in place, everything is at the desired place in the PPT, in the slides. So make sure before submitting your final PPT, you have formatted your PPT. After that, you need to use charts and graphs wherever you can. For example, you have information, you have a lot of information. Instead of making tables of those information, you can actually present that information in form of a pie chart, in graph, in line bar. It's very easy to give your analysis by presenting your data in pie charts, in graphs, in line graphs, and audience will also be able to understand what the presenter wants to say. For example, if you give them a complete data table, you will actually make them sure that they actually don't understand what the data table is, because they don't have that much amount of time. They'll not sit for you for like 1 hour. Okay, so make sure that you present your data in rather in not in tables, but in those graphs, charts, and line graphs. Okay, after that, in the end, you need to make sure that your entire PPT is error free. Before going in for the final presentation, please rehearse your PPT time and again. Please make sure that whatever you've written down is accurate. If you have taken some information from any source, make sure that you paste the source of the information, because it is really important, because that particular information, that particular data is not yours. You are referring to some data. So whenever you are referring to some data, make sure you paste the source, okay, in the footer. Also, not in the footer but in the bottom line. Okay, one more tip that I want to give you is make sure that you keep your text, if there's any, or your chart and graphs or pictures slightly high or towards the upper side of the slide. Why actually I'm saying this? For example, at times if you're giving your PPT in a crowded room, in a crowded place, so the thing is, if you've written down your vital information or some important information down to the bottom, the chances that the audience or the people sitting in the end, that they're not able to read that information, they're not able to grasp what actually you are saying, and at times they might stand up, might click some pictures. That has been the case in most PPTs, because people don't take into consideration that that they have to make sure that whatever information they are reflecting should be clearly and visibly, and that's why we also say that you should be presenting limited information on the PPT. More focus should be on delivery. But at times, if you need to present some information on the PPT, make sure it's slightly upwards, not downwards, so that it is visible to every single person. Because if people start getting up in the midst of your presentation, they start clicking some pictures, the chances is that you will get distracted, and when you get distracted, your flow will be hindered. There are certain don'ts that we have to follow while making professional PowerPoint presentation. Number one is that you need to avoid over formatting of your PowerPoint presentation. Number two is this particular point that I've been repeating throughout my session, is that please avoid writing, putting down long paragraphs. No one is actually interested in that. And number three is avoid flashing slide transition. Now, what that particular third point is, see, it's a professional PowerPoint presentation. We want to keep it as simple, as informative as possible. Okay, so these are some of the three don'ts that you need to follow. Well, one thing that I want to highlight in the end is that PPT is for helping the presenter. Okay, PPT is for helping the presenter. It all depends upon the presenter, how he will present the PPT. No matter if you made a really good PPT, but if the presenter is not good, sorry, that PPT won't even count. That PPT won't even stand a chance in front of the audience. So there should be a coordination of PPT and the presenter, and presenter should have rehearsed the PPT whenever he is going to present it in front of the audience. Okay, I hope these tips will help you in making your professional PowerPoint presentation even better. Thank you for your time. Thank you very much.